Hi everyone, I'm Pat Prokop. Tropical Cyclone Elsa continues to move up through the eastern Gulf of Mexico and will present adverse weather conditions for our area, particularly Wednesday, late morning through early morning on Thursday. So, without further ado, let's go to the computer models and the radar. Well, here we have tropical cyclone, or tropical storm, if you want to call it that, Elsa. And a lot of the convection is right over here to the east of the center of rotation, which is right about there. There's some good southwesterly shear going on with this system, but very intense thunderstorm and rain bands are developing over here just to the east of the center between there and Key West, Florida. And the storm is expected to move up northward across into the eastern Gulf of Mexico and into eventually southeastern Georgia and southeastern and eastern South Carolina as a weakening tropical system. So let's go to the first of all the computer models. And here's the latest GFS, which has been doing a fantastic job in tracking this storm, leading all the other models and putting some of them to shame, actually. Since last week, I've been watching this system with the GFS new and improved model. But anyway, watch how the storm is expected to move as we go through time. And here we are by sunrise tomorrow morning, or a little after sunrise, 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. There's the storm over in extreme northeastern portion of the Gulf of Mexico, north of Tampa now, and ready to make landfall in that area. It could be a very strong tropical storm or even a minimal hurricane at this time. But then, as it moves inland, it begins to tighten up a little bit. So here we're going to see some strong winds across extreme North Florida and extreme southern Georgia in and around the Okefenokee Swamp. This is at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon or Wednesday afternoon. And already the rains are falling across eastern and southeastern Georgia, moving into extreme southern South Carolina. And by 8 o'clock tomorrow evening, bands of heavy rain are expected to be developing and moving northward and northeastward into our area. And some of these rains are going to be very, very heavy. Then over time, the system will be pulling away, and by 2 o'clock Thursday afternoon, we should be out of it. But some more showers and thunderstorms could develop Thursday afternoon into Thursday evening, but not with the intensity of the storms expected for Wednesday afternoon into Wednesday evening in our area. Here's the high resolution model showing basically the same thing, going backwards in time and starting up. And you can see the storm making landfall in the extreme north portions of Florida, northwest Florida area of the peninsula, and then moving northward and northeastward. And they're spreading again very strong bands of heavy rains. Now, these will be in the form of squalls. A squall is a very intense rainfall for a brief period of time, perhaps 5 minutes to 10 minutes, along with some very strong gusty winds. And this is where you can find the potential for isolated tornadoes. Some of those winds could be 40 miles an hour, but if an isolated tornado forms, it could be beyond 60 miles an hour. So that could cause a lot of damage. But the blinding rain associated with this will be the other issue with the storms as the system moves off to the northeast. Now, where can you get more information about this system? Well, on my website, savannahpat.name. Easy to remember, Savannah, Pat, and my name. Anyway, first of all, you can see the forecast from the National Hurricane Center. It has the region of southeastern, all of the coastal areas of Georgia and southeastern and eastern South Carolina under a tropical storm watch. This will probably be elevated to a tropical storm warning throughout the later tonight or tomorrow morning as the storm approaches. Still a tropical storm almost over the Waycross area with about 40-mile-per-hour winds there. Tropical storm winds are 39 miles an hour or greater. Those are sustained winds. You could have higher gusts as well. And then as it moves up into South Carolina, becoming a tropical depression with less than 39-mile-per-hour winds, probably around 35 miles an hour there. But still, if that's bad enough, that can cause tree limb damage and have flying debris blowing through the air. Other information on my website about this, I have a lot of information about rainfall. 3 to 5 inches of rain and isolated maximum totals up to 8 inches will be possible across portions of southeastern Georgia and the low country of South Carolina, which may result in considerable flash flooding and urban flooding. And see the forecast rain amounts for your area. Well, you click on that link And there you see in the greater Savannah area, you have these different rain totals. For example, Savannah quarters over there by Pooler, just south of Pooler, 3.85 inches of rain over a 3-day total. Most of that tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. And then a lot of the areas of southeastern Georgia, and then going into South Carolina, Hilton Head Island, you could see 3.75 inches of rain. That's the forecast from the National Weather Service, point forecast. And I have all these broken down for your communities. There's a lot of rain on the way. And then other areas around South Carolina, you got Beaufort, Gardens Corner, Ridgeland, Hampton area. Most of these serving the area of southeastern Georgia and southern South Carolina. Also, the threat of a few tornadoes are possible today through the portions of the Florida Peninsula. The tornado threat will continue on Wednesday across North Florida, southeastern Georgia, and the low country of South Carolina. The tornado threat should shift to eastern Carolinas thereafter, then into Virginia on Thursday, but that doesn't concern us here. But, you know, it's bad news for Thursday for Virginia and North Carolina. Now, the timing for our area of southeastern Georgia, southeast South Carolina, the bulk of the adverse weather will be from late morning Wednesday to early morning Thursday. During this time frame, there could be periods of squalls with blinding rains and strong gusty winds that will make outdoor adventures and driving very dangerous due to the flying debris and limited visibility. So if you have to be outside tomorrow, be on the alert for these squalls as they come on through. You know, when the squalls come on through, you could see blinding rain and strong gusty winds followed by a brief period of sunshine. And then more squalls will follow. You could have 3 or 4 of these squalls or more passing through the area. And each time the squalls come through, that's where you get most of the strongest winds. Now, there will be moderate winds outside the squall areas, but in the squalls itself, you could expect to see some very strong and gusty winds. And of course, if you're on my website, if you click here, it goes straight to the National Hurricane Center. And there you can see a lot more information. The forecast discussion is always well worth reading. The public advisory is an absolute reading to get information about your area. And local National Weather Service products. Of course, our area that serves most of our region is the Charleston National Weather Service. That serves Charleston down through Savannah, down to Darien. And south of Darien, it's the National Weather Service out of Jacksonville, Florida. So you have all this information. Here's the potential rainfall map. I think this is going to be updated a little bit later on this afternoon. But at the moment, it has 2 to 4 inches with isolated 3 to 5 inches of rain across most of eastern Georgia and South Carolina. Now, a question a lot of people have been asking me, what part of our area will it be associated with? Where would be the adverse weather? Well, obviously in the coastal counties, and it looks like the counties adjacent to the coastal counties and the next 2 counties basically adjacent to the coastal counties. So basically everything east of US 1 should see adverse weather conditions tomorrow, and east of 301, Highway 301 in Georgia, expect to see very adverse weather conditions with those squalls, particularly in the heavy rain. So, you know, all of eastern Georgia and all of eastern South Carolina. This includes the Brunswick up to Savannah, Hinesville, Statesboro, Springfield, and going into Hampton, South Carolina, Ridgeland, South Carolina, and of course, the Hardeeville area over to Bluffton and Hilton Head Island, and northward into the Beaufort area. Expect to see very adverse weather conditions. I want to take a look at the current radar right now. And if I can pull it over here, let's bring it over. Here it comes. This is the current conditions. You can see right here, this is Tropical Storm Elsa. And there you can see the center rotation right there, moving north, almost due northward right now. Now I can look at the base velocity, and there you have a lot of strong winds. Let me stop this for a minute. I'm going to get to the pause point right there. And I can measure the winds, and in this area right here, the Doppler radar out of Key West, Florida is indicating winds around 69 knots just above the surface. So that's, you know, actually that's hurricane strength, but that's an estimation from the radar, Doppler radar. But this is where you're seeing a lot of very strong winds near hurricane force at the surface. So, you know, we'll have to keep an eye on this storm because as it moves northward, it will definitely cause these bands of heavy rains to be moving onshore. And you can see it moving onshore in the southern portions of Florida, and that'll be moving northward throughout the night. So the bottom line is we have a wet system moving into our area with some very strong gusty winds expected throughout the day on Wednesday. Well, even though this is not a hurricane, the conditions could be rather adverse throughout the day on Wednesday with heavy rains and strong gusty winds, resulting in a lot of flooding around the region, particularly flash flooding. So be very careful about that, and be very, very careful with outdoor venturing, whether working outdoors or driving, because the conditions will be quite hazardous tomorrow afternoon or Wednesday afternoon into early Thursday morning. So the bottom line is, thank you for watching and stay safe.